Hello, everybody. I'm Radhika. Welcome back to DataZard. I hope you're doing well and you're enjoying these sessions. Today, we are going to be working with another Workout Wednesday challenge, which is around Power Query. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. I will be solving Power BI 2021 Week 29 challenge and creating this visual. It is just about the right time because this data is about Olympics and we have Olympics going on right now. So let us go into our Power BI report. Let us start by getting data into Power BI. So for that, I'll click on import data from Excel and choose the file and click on open. Now I will choose this event schedule and click on transform data as we have to apply some transformations in Power Query. So the first thing that I'm going to do is delete the columns which are not required. So the first column is latitude, then longitude and date. And I will then right click and click on remove columns. Now we need to convert this UK date time into our local date time. Now instead of converting it into a local date, my local date time, I will convert this into date time which is used in the challenge so that the numbers match. So what I will do is I'll click on add columns and click on custom column because we are adding a custom column. And what we need to do is get the UK date time and we need to subtract 5 hours. So I will choose duration and we need to subtract hours. So first one is for days, so 0 days. And then we need to subtract 5 hours, then minutes and seconds. And then I'll click on OK. Now this is local date time, I'll call this. And the next thing that we need to do is create a calendar table. So for that, I'll go to home and click on new source and get a blank query so that we can start from scratch. Now, the first thing that we need to do is get a list of dates. So I will use list.dates and the first we need to give it the first date, the starting date. So I will give this, which is 2021, 07 and 20. How many dates do we want? So we want 20 days and the duration should be 1 day. So again, I'm using duration and we have 1 day, 0 hours, 0 minutes and 0 seconds. And when we click on enter, we get this list of dates. We will convert this into a table. So click on to table and click on OK. Now I will call this calendar as we are creating a calendar and I will call this date. And now we will convert this into a date type. Now the next thing that we want is the name of the month. So for that, I'll go to add columns, click on date and month and say name of month. Next, we want name of the day. So again, going to date, going into day and clicking name of day. Now, for the rest of the things, let's go to our advanced editor so that it's more clear. And now I will first define our start date. So I'll call this start date so that I don't have to type our date again and again. And this is our start date. So I will just copy this and paste it here. So this is our start date. Now, because I have defined the start date here, I will just replace this as start date as well. And in Power Query, it is totally okay to use a thing which is defined later on in the previous steps because Power Query doesn't need to have in the proper order, like it doesn't execute line by line. Now, after this, we need to define what is the day at which the event is happening, starting from day one as the opening ceremony day. So for that, I will use step add day of game. We need to do table add a column, so we will do table dot add column. We need to add column to this step. So I will give the first argument as this. We need to define the name of the column, which is day of games. Then we need to do for each duration dot days between our date and the start date and need to add just one so that we have opening day as day one. Now I will return this and click on done. When we do that, we get all the dates starting from our 20th of July, which is the first day of the Olympics, and 8th of August, which is the last day. Again, going back to advanced editor, And this time we're going to define the week. So starting with week 0, then week 1 and week 2. So for this, I'll call this step add week to game, because we need to add a column. So table dot add column. We need to add column to the previous step, which is this one. And we are calling this week of games. And now the calculation that we need to do is for each of the row, if the duration in days for our date and the start date is less than 7, then we just need week 0. Else we need week and the week number. So I'll use week, then concatenate it with, let us first write the expression. So we will again calculate duration days between the date and the start date subtracted by 7, and we need to divide this by 7, because this is going to come out as an as a decimal point. So I will enclose this in number dot round down, and we will add 1 so that we take into account week 0. And now I will again enclose this in text dot from, because we need to convert this integer into a text so that we can concatenate it with week. Now I will return this step and click on done. So now we have all the weeks coming in. Now next we need to do is we need to get day name in 3 characters. So for this I will do split column by number of characters, and we need first 3 characters from as far left as possible, and click on OK. Now I'll delete this one and rename this as day name. We also need the short date, so I will duplicate this. So duplicate column. We will convert this into text so that we get the splitting option. I'll split column by delimiter, and the delimiter is this slash, and on each occurrence of delimiter, and click on OK. And now we don't want this last column, so I will remove this and we will merge these two columns. So merge columns, and the separator should be the slash, and we will call it short date, and click on OK. Now these were the only transformations that were required for the calendar table and the event schedule, and now I will click on close and apply. Now we only need one measure, so I will just create it directly in event schedule, and that measure is called total events, which will be equal to count of the events split. Now we also need hierarchy in the calendar. So for hierarchy, I'll right click week of games and create hierarchy. And we will then add short date to this hierarchy and also day name. So adding it to hierarchy. Now I will choose a matrix, and in this visual, let us add total events to values, sports group to rows, sports to rows, and event split to rows, so that they create a hierarchy in rows. And we will bring this week of games hierarchy in columns. Once we do that and go to columns and go at the lowest level, we see this full matrix coming in. Now we have, these are all looking same values because we have not connected these two tables. So we will connect the date table with the local date time and click on save. And I will convert this column into a date column. And now when we come back here, we see that all of these things are displayed properly. Now we just need to format this a bit. So we don't want the column totals. For layout, we want minimal layout. Now we're getting all the proper numbers here. We need another page for showing the tooltip. So I'll call this page tooltip. We'll get a table. This table has time, so we will get local time. what is the name of event. So event split and medal ceremony. We will again do style presets, choose minimal. For values, let us just increase this to 12. For column headers, let us increase this to 12 as well. We will turn off the background for this one. And now let us just adjust the size of canvas. We will do custom. Page information, I'll give this page as tooltip, keep all filters on. And then I will go to this visual and turn on tooltip. And I will give report page as tooltip. And now when I hover over it, I see the tooltip coming in all right. Now, last thing that we need to do is give it conditional formatting. So I'll click on this visual, go to visual and cell elements. And for total events, we need to give this a background color. And this is how it comes all right. So now when I click on badminton, it gives me badminton as a sport and then gives me all the events. Now I'll increase the size of the canvas so that we don't have to scroll through this. So I'll choose custom. Now this is how the visual looks like. And when we drill down, then we see everything. I hope you've liked this challenge. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next one.